Hello. Good afternoon, participants. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, madam, audible.
Okay, thank you. So today's session is about the chat application. I'll show you how to develop the a basic chat application. Okay, using a ReactJS. 1 second. Yeah. Hello. Is this screen visible? Okay. Ha. So before going to create a chat application, first I will tell you basic of what is React, why we are using this React JS, and what are the types we have, and what is the advantages of this React JS. A few lines I will explain. So basically, we can use this React JS for developing the single page applications. We already know that. So it was developed by the Facebook company. Why they are using this React JS? What is the use of this React JS? First, you have to know, right? So why you have to use this React JS? First of all, normal applications can use the DOM procedure, right? You already know the DOM. DOM can follow the when you are clicking one web application, that application, first suppose you can take any Gmail. In that application, you have so many elements, right? So if you are clicking any one element at that time, total application elements are reloading again and again. Okay, total elements can be reloading again and again. So but if you are using this React JS, no need to load all the components, no need to load all the components. Which component you are going to update, that component only loading. No need of loading all these components of your web application. That is the main advantage of your React JS. Okay, so of course it's follow the DOM procedure, but it have the advanced feature of virtual DOM procedure. In virtual DOM, first suppose you can take the Facebook. Okay, by using the React JS, the Facebook company is developing this React. So first of all, and if you go to the Facebook application, here we have so many components, right? Like user profile, user image, post, story, and news feed. So many components are there in your Facebook page. So each component is a one component, like each post is one component. So if you want to update your profile page, at that time what you want to do, if it is a normal DOM procedure, then you have to load all the Facebook elements. But here we are using the React JS, right? So no need to load all the page elements. You just load only the post, which post you want to update, that post only you have to update by using the React.js. So in React.js, if you are using, if you are developing any web application, in that web application, uh, total elements are component based. In React.js, everything is a component based only. By using React.js, if you are developing any web application, that application may contain only the I don't have slide actually. First, suppose you can take this. These are all the components you consider. Okay, this is my one application, so these are all the components. So here the application is a combination of components. So if you are clicking on one component, then that particular component is only updating by using the virtual DOM procedure. At first, if you want to update any one element, at that time, at first the virtual DOM can update the element. If it is and first, suppose you have a image of your profile page. I want to update my profile page, so I want to change this profile. At that time, you are clicking on the your profile page. Okay, so first of all, it will check with the previous profile pic in a virtual DOM. These all procedures will be performed in your virtual DOM. Once it was compared with the previous image, then it was updated in virtual DOM, and then it will be rendered in a DOM. So it was improving the performance of your application. By using the virtual DOM, you can improve the performance of your application. That is the main advantage of this React.js. If you are developing your application by using the React.js, then you can improve the performance of your application than the DOM applications. That is the main advantage. So each and everything is a component in our application, we already know. So we can create the components in a two ways. Those are class components and function components. Class component and a function component. So what is this, a class component and a function components, and what is the difference between the class components and function components? In class components, you can create the state of your component by creating an object. We are defining a present state of your component. For suppose you have a one component like registration page, you can take what is the present state of your registration page. For suppose you are submitting your page, right? So you are in a that stage, submit stage. After that, that page is submitting your details to the server. That is another stage. So that is called your component stage. The registration page is one component, and that component you have so many states, right? So you have to update the state of your component again and again. So by using the class component, you can update the state of your component by creating the state object. And if you want to update the component at that time, you can use the method set state method. Okay, by using set state method, you can update the state of your component. But in functional component, we cannot create any state of your component. Why? Because functions doesn't have any objects, right? So here we are unable to create any objects. So here we cannot define any state of your component, but we have to define the what is the state of your component, what is the present state of your component. So for that, we have to use hooks. By using the hooks, we can create the objects, state objects in a function component. Okay, by using the hooks, we can create an objects in a function component and define the state of your component. Okay, these are the components we can use for creating the components. So let's jump into our application first. Now I want to create a application, chat application. Okay, So how can we create a React.js application? For that, I'm opening the Node.js command prompt. So in this Node.js command prompt, I want to create my React.js application, that is the with the name chat application. So here I want to save my application in a E drive. My app name is a chat app 4. So the command which we can use for creating the application is a create hyphen react hyphen app and your app name. My app name is a chat app 4. This is my chat app name. Okay, this is my app name. This is the command we can use for developing, creating the app first. So before creating the app, we have to install the a Node.js software. Before creating the app, we have to install the Node.js, and then you have to create this application. For that, we can use the command create hyphen react hyphen app, and this is my app name. So press enter. Now automatically the app can be creating. See here, the supporting files all are generating by the Node.js. So it will take time. So I will show you another what is actually what is the output we are going to develop. I will show you. Meanwhile, uh, yeah, this is the application we are going to develop. So this is the chat application we are going to develop. So here we have 5 components. See here, this is one component with the name nav, and this is a total. This here this chat is a one component, and this chat items. I'm here. I need a pencil actually. So here I have 5 components we are going to develop. Those are first one is a nav bar. It contains only a small icon. See here, this is one icon component, and next one is a total this chat body. So this is one component, and in this component I'm importing 3 more components. Actually components are nested components, right? And these are reusable, right? So here I'm inserting 3 components in one component. Here this is one, this is one component, and in this chat components, item, and this is a user profile. These are the three components. So total 4 components we are going to develop here. So these are the 5 components. First one is a nav, and second one is the chat body. In chat body, I am importing 3 more components. Those are chat list and chat item and user profile. These are the total 5 components we are going to develop now. So let's go to the code. See here, my chat app name is a chat app 2, and here I have the folder structure, public and src, and this git ignore. These are all the files we have. So in public, I have the index.html file. In index.html file, we have only one important line in body section, that is a div id equal to root. This is the important line where we can render our app. See here, div id equal to root. At this position, our app going to render. Okay, this is actually index.html file. And next, this is a src file. In src, we have a app.js. By default, it generates app.js, app.css, and index.js and index.js. These are all the files by default Node.js can generate when we are creating your app by using the create-react-app command. So this Node.js created all these files. Now we have to create the components in a src folder. So I inserted this components folder in a src folder. So here I inserted so many components. See here, chat body, chat content, chat list, nav, and user profile. I already show you, right? So these are the 5 components I'm going to generate. First one is the nav, which denotes the only a logo, and chat body. Chat body represents 3 components. Inside the chat body, I'm inserting this chat content, chat list, and nav, and user profile. These are the all the components I'm inserting in a chat body. First of all, go to the chat body. In chat body.js, I'm inserting the, see here. Uh, So first I'm importing the chat body.css file. So I want to give some style settings so that I'm using this chat body.css. And here, first of all, I'm importing the React folder. So this is by default, library supporting files will be imported. And then this is the file chat list we created for generating the chat list of your, to define the users. How many users are registered in your chat box? Those users information will be displayed by using this component. These are all the components: chat list, chat content, and user profile. These 3 are the components which were inserted in a chat body. Chat body also one component, but Inside one component, I'm nesting the 3 more components. In chat body, I'm inserting this chat list, chat content, and chat profile. So, if you want to use these components, if you want to import these components in another files, before importing this, you have to export this. Okay, see here. Actually, I want to use this chatbody.js in another file. For that purpose, at first you have to export this file. Export default class chat body. Why here I'm defining this line is, if you want to use this chat body component in some another file, for that purpose, if you want to import this in some another file, so first of all you have to export this, then only this file can be imported, otherwise we'll get a error. So let's see the this chat body can be inserted in a app.js. So here we are exported this now. So we just open the app.js. See here we are importing the chat body. Import chat body from where it is available in component folder. We have a chat body. This is a folder, one more folder in components. I have a chat body folder. In chat body, I created chat body.js file. Okay, so first of all, before clearly discussing about these components, what is this app.js, what is this index.js, these are all the main files the node.js can generate when you are creating your app. When you are generating your app, these files can be generated by the node.js. This index.js and app.js and index.html, these three files can be generated by the node.js. So app.js, what it can do? App.js can be used for returning your components. You are creating some components with your own way and importing all the components in your this app.js file. You are creating so many components like nav, chat body, etc components you can create, and you have to import all these components in app.js, like import now from components now, like that you can import, and you have to self close the component, then only this can be returned to the index.js file. Okay, so here I'm using function component for creating this app.js, and I want to return these components. Here I'm importing the nav component and chat body. So these two components I want to return to the index.js file. Okay, this is my app.js file. App.js can return the components to the index.js file. And what index.js can do? See here, this first of all, if you want to import this app.js file here, for that you have to export this. Here this app.js I want to import in a index.js. For that, at first you have to export this. You have to write like export default and component name, then only you can use this app.js in another file. Okay, so see here in index.js I'm importing the import app from app, and index.css for styling purpose, and these are all the predefined libraries. Import react from react dom from react dom client, these are all the predefined libraries. So let's go to the code. Const root equal to react dom dot create root a document dot get element by id of root. So what is this root? This root is presented in a index.html file. We already shown, right? We already see that file. So here actually what we are doing, we are self closing this app.js file. That means in app.js we imported three components, right? nav.js and nav.js we imported, and chatbody.js we imported. So I want to return these two components to the index.js. So when we are self-closing this component, then what will happen? This component, this app.js can return this to the index.js, and this index.js can render these components on your root element. That means it just render your components on your browser. In your application, it just going to render by using this render method, where it can render on root element. Okay. So at first, we have to write the components in app.js. That is the main procedure. In app.js, we have to import so many components. How many components you want to create, you just create and import all these components in your app.js file. A first thing. And then you have to self-close the components. All the components, how many components are you are imported, those components you have to self-close here. If you are using one more component here, import a class like one more file is chat list from a component chat body. Like if you inserted like this, that also you have to self close here after this chat body. So those files can be returning to the index.js. So the index.js can render the all these app.js components to the root element. That means this is a index.html file. In index.html I have the root element. This can be used for displaying your all the components into the application, your chat application. That is the main basic procedure going on for when you are creating the application. It may be a chat application or a single page application, whatever it may be. At first you have to write the components, you have to create some components and import all these components in a app.js. That is the main first procedure. And then this app.js can return all these components to the index.js. So index.js, in index.js you have to import app.js. You have to import app.js, and then you just render the components. What are the components present in app.js, like nav and chat body? These components we are returning on by using app.js, and we are going to render these components in a index.js. And this render method can render these elements in a root element, that is which was presented in a index.html. That is the procedure the app can follow. So let's go to the each component step by step. So first component is a chat body. In chat body, I have chat body.css and chat body.js. So chat body.js can be used for just defining the styles of your chat body. Here I'm just giving the styles of by using the CSS, like flex grow one, and background color I'm giving, and border radius I'm giving, and padding I'm giving, and display. So padding can be used for generating the space around the elements, and display flex means your application will be adjustable as per the screen. It just be adjustable. And just go to the chat body.js. So here in chat body I'm importing the three more components. See here, chart list and chart content and user profile. These are the three components I'm going to create, and I want to import this in a chat body. So before importing this, we have to export. You just remember, if you want to import these components, so that when you are creating these components, at that time you have to write export default. Then only these files can be imported. Okay, so here I'm importing these components with the location, with the concerned location. So here I want to return these elements. So here I'm just self closing these three components here. So chat body contains the three components. Those are chat list, chat content, and user profile. So let's go one by one. First one is a chat content. See here. Here I'm importing the normal library files. That is import react components, use state, create reference. So what is this use state method? This is actually a predefined method which can be used for creating the a state, and to update the state we can use this use state method. And this is the css file which we can use for applying the styles on this chat content file. So I want to apply some styles for this component. For that I'm using this css file, and this is a one more component I'm using for displaying the users information. In chat box we are the users are registered, right? Those users information I'm giving in this avatar component. This component is available in a components folder. And next one is the chat item component. So this chat item component is also displaying the chat information. So a particular user, what information, what messages he is typing, those messages information can be displayed by using this component. So these three components I'm importing here. So see here, this is the class component. So here I'm creating the by using class component, I'm creating this chat content. So here at first I'm exporting this component, chat content component. Why? Because I want to use this component in another place. So actually this React.js is a reusable, right? So if you want to reuse these components, for that you have to mention export default. Then only you can use this component in another place by importing the components. So for that I'm defining export default. So class chat content can extend the component. Now here I want to create a object like a messages and reference equal to create reference. Here I'm creating the chat items. That means here the persons which are doing chats, those persons information I'm defining and what message he is typing. See here, this is the information of the particular person information. Key one is his ID, user ID, and this is a image of the particular person. Here I'm directly giving the link of the particular person and what is the type of that user and what is the message he's typing. So this is the information of that one person, and this is the another person information. These are the two users chatting between them in a chat application. So like that, I'm first creating the objects by with the name messages and reference. So these are all the messages. Now here I'm creating a constructor and I want to access these chat items. See here, these are all the chat items, right? I'm defining with the name chat item. So I want to access these all chat items as per the condition. So here this dot state equal to chat, this dot chat items. Okay, so by using this, I want to access according to the props, according to the properties, I want to access this chat item. So in parent class, I can pass these properties according to property values. The user can be accessed and messages can be displayed as per this properties values. So here this is a arrow function. Scroll bottom is a arrow function. It just by using this scroll bottom arrow function, we just enable the scroll option. In chat application, we are going to scroll. I will show you 1 second. First of all, I'll run this application first, then only it will be easy to understand. To run the application, we can use the command npm start. I want to start the application. I think it will take time. Okay, so this scroll bottom arrow function can be used for scrolling option. So this dot message, the messages can be in chat content. We have so many messages. Users are typing so many messages. So for those messages, I want to give some scroll option. Okay, so this by using this dot message and reference, it just scroll to the current version, current message. Okay, just define the scroll option. Now this is a component did mount. Component did mount is a method, is a phase of a component lifecycle method actually. So it just define the what is the component position at night at right position, what is the component and what is the state of this component. So here, suppose the user is typing the message. Okay, so it just display the user is going to type some message. If he is typed some message, the message is typed, the typing is completed, then it just shows the, it just display the message. So component did mount means the component is rendered in your application. This component did mount can display what a component is rendered on your browser, that can be defined by this a method. So this is the one of the life cycle phase method of your component. In component life cycle, actually we have so many methods like component will mount and component did mount and should component will connect. Like that we have so many methods. So here this method can define the component is rendered on your web application. So see the output here. Is output is displaying for everyone? Hello? Hello? Is chat application is visible for everyone? Hello? Hello?
Yes, Ashwini, you can continue.
Yeah, is this chat application available? Visible? Output just hello, is the Chrome is visible for you?
Code is visible, ma.
See here, this is the output. So here, this is the scroll option. By using that arrow function, we are developing this scroll option, and this is the a chat body component which we are developed. In that chat body, we are discussing about this chat content. In chat content, we have so many messages now. So that component is going to render these messages only. Okay, so let's jump into the code. See here, so the components are rendered on our application. So here, once the user send the message, then what will happen? The state is updating, right? Actually these components are one state, right? This chat content is one component, in that the user is sending so many messages, so that can be updated by using this component did mount method. In that, how we are updating? By using this set state method, we are updating the state of your component. This method can be used for updating the state, component state. Okay, this is the method we can use for updating the component states. So here I'm updating the this chat item state. So it just access these chat items. See here, this chat item can be accessed by using this dot chat items, and update the state of your component by using the this dot set state. So here the messages can be updated regularly by using this component did mount method and directly rendered on the application. So finally, I want to return all these components logic to the index.js file. Finally, I want you have to return all these information to the index.js, right? Then only it can be rendered on a index.html file. then it can be displayed on the browser. So for that, I'm defining the div element with the name main chat content. And for these div elements, I'm giving some styles. Okay, so these are the three div blocks I'm giving with the name blocks, content header, and main chat content. And for these three, I'm giving some styles also. So if here the avatar is in online, then you have to display his image. Okay, otherwise the color will be changed. And if he is online, then his name can be displayed here. And here, see here, here I'm taking one more div blocks, that is with the name blocks. And here I'm taking a settings and a button knob. Here these are all the div blocks I'm using to access the location for displaying the images. The user typing some messages, right? Those messages can be displayed in this div blocks. And I want to give some styles to that messages. For that, I am using this chat content.css and applying the styles to these div blocks by using these class names. See here. Same class names I'm using for applying the styles. So in chat content.js, I have the class name blocks. So for this block, I want to give the some styles. Content header. Yeah, see here. Like this for each and every class, we are providing styles on this chat content CSS. So for main chat content, I given some styles. For content header, I'm giving some styles. For blocks also, I'm giving some styles. Like that for each and every class, I'm giving so many styles for the a component. And finally, I want to render this a component. This is the about a class chat content. So this chat content just represents the only messages it just represents. And chat item, this chart item.js can return only the a time of the messages. See here, here it just representing the 16 minutes ago. This is the JSX, right? So it just display the text as it is in your root element. So here by using the span tag, I want to display some information like 16 minutes ago he is active and he's seen on 3 p.m. So I want to display these messages. See here. So the message is accessed by the chat items. This dot chat item, by using that function, I accessed this message, and for that message, I want to display this time 16 minutes ago, and he's seen at 1:03 p.m. This is the information I want to display by using the span tag. Our next one is a nav. In nav, I have nav.js and nav.css and logo.png. Here in nav.js, I just want to display one small logo. So how to insert that logo? So see here, first I want to insert this logo. So for that, first I want to import the logo. So here I'm giving the location of the logo. So here the logo image is inserted in a nav folder directly. So no need to write the folder structure. Why? Because it was directly available in the nav folder. And I want to import the nav.css also. So by using this nav.css, I want to apply some styles for the nav.js. Now, see here, first I want to create this nav component. So this is a class component. So I want to import this nav component in a some another file. For that, here I am defining export default. This is the keyword which we can use for uh, importing the this component in a another file. For that, you have to use this export default keyword. So this is a eligible for using this component in a another components, and I want to return this as a image logo. I want to return only logo here. Within this nav component, I want to return only the logo. Okay, so here by using this div tag, I'm just giving some space for this logo and applying the some styles to this nav and nav blocks. In nav.css, I'm just giving the some styles. For now, I'm giving this max width, display, justify content, and padding top. These are the styles I'm applying for this nav and nav blocks. And for this image also, I given some styles. And finally, where this nav component is available in our output. Let's see. See here, this is the nav component. So here in this nav component, I just inserted the logo only. And if you are creating this nav component, but you are not inserting this in a app.js, then it will not render. Why? Because we are not inserting this, we are not importing this nav component in a app.js file. If you want to render this component in your web page, web application, at that time you have to import your each and every component in a app.js file. See here in app.js, I've inserted the nav file. So if I remove this, the component cannot be displayed. So if I run this, it cannot run. The styles will be disabled. So here, see here, the nav is not available. Why? Because here in our code, I'm not inserting the nav file in a app.js file. See here, now I want to insert the line here. So if you run this, now the output will be displayed. Let's go to the output. See here, now the output is displaying. So if you are not inserting this component, then the output will be not displayed. The component is not rendering. So if you want to render any component, so at first you have to insert that component in a app.js file. How many components you want to develop, that's your wish, but each and every component should be imported in a app.js file. That is a compulsory. So this is about the nav file. So by using this nav component, we'll just display only the logo of your chat application. Next one is the user profile. In user profile, we have user profile.css and user profile.js. So in user profile.js, what we have, let's see. So here, first I'm importing the CSS file for styling purpose, and then I'm creating the component using a class component and giving the name as user profile, and here I'm giving export default. So here I want to toggle the user information, which one, who is a current user and who is the person sending the messages. That person's information I want to display in my chat application. Okay, so for that I want to toggle that particular person's information here. So here I want to display that particular person profile information. So I want to display his image and his name and his information I want to display here. So here I here by using this target.parent class list toggle, I want to open that particular person who is typing that message, who is an active person. That person's information I'm going to render on your user profile. This is the component which can display the active user information. So it just display the user name with the image and his information. See here, this is the image tag. Here the link is here I'm inserting the link for image purpose, and this is his name, and this is the information about that person. And finally I want to display some information about him. This is the information. Now I want to provide the styles for this user profile. See here, at first I created some div classes, right, with the name main user profile and profile card user underscore profile image. These are all the class names, div class names. For these class names, here I'm applying the styles. See here, main user profile, profile card. For all these classes, div classes, these are all the div classes. And for those div classes, I'm applying the styles for each and every div class. So as per the style, as per the CSS styles, the user profile will be adjusted in your chat application. This is about the user profile component. So now component is completed. User profile component is completed. Now chat body also completed, I think. So in chat body, we have three components, right? Chat content and chat list. Chat content. In chat body, we have a three components, that is a chat list, chat content, and user profile. So this user profile completed and chat content completed. Next one is a chat list. So chat list.js. In chat list we have only the users information. See here, these are all the chat users. So this is the image of a, I will show you output, 1 second. So this is the a component of chat list. In chat list, I want to display only these users of images with the name, and this button, new conversation button, and chat text, and this search bar, and I want to display these users images with the name. So let's go to the code. See here, this is the chatlist.js file. So here I'm first inserting the all the users information. See here, I want to display in our chart list with the image and his name, right? So with the name, variable name, all chat users, I am displaying the image, and for that image I'm providing the link, and I'm giving some ID with the value 1, and this is the name of that person, and he is active or not. If he is active, true. For example, he is in online, then he is active. If he is in not online, then active is a false value. So for next person, see here, these are all the objects I'm creating for displaying these all users information in a chat box. See here, this is the image of a second person. Okay, this he is the second user, and this is the value ID, and this is the second name of a user too, and he is not in online, so he is not active, so the value is the false. Like that, all users information I'm providing with the variable name all chat users. Okay, now I want to access that all chat users. See here in constructor, by using constructor here, I'm accessing the all chat users. See here, this dot state equal to all chats, this dot all chat users. So here I want to access the users. So who is active? That person information I want to display. See here, and then here I want to return some buttons. In a chat list we have some button, right? That button name is a new conversation. So here by using this in this div block, I'm creating one button with the new conversation. The button name is a new conversation, and with by using this name I'm providing the some styles also. So here the div class name is a main underscore chat list. For this class, I'm providing the some styles. See here, main chat list. For this, I'm providing the some styles for that element. And next, I'm taking another div block with the name chat list underscore heading. Here, I just want to display the only a text like chats. For this also, I'm providing some styles in a chat list.css. And here I want to display some a button also by using this button tag. This is in under this div only. So for this button also I'm giving the styles by using this chat list underscore heading only. And now this is the search bar. So by using this div here I'm going to generate the search bar. Okay, this is the search bar I'm creating by using this a button class name equal to search button. And finally I just want to link this. And next I want to access the all the information. I want to return all these things in a app.js file. Okay, for that I want to at first these three components are imported in a chat body. These three chat list.js and chat content.js and chat body, all these contents are components are available in a chat body.js file. So this chat body is imported in a app.js. See here, where is the, see here, this is the chat body. In chat body, I inserted these three components: chat list and chat content and user profile. And this chat body.js, here I'm going to import this chat body.js in a app.js file. See here, this chat body is imported in a app.js file. Then only the three components can render in a your chat application. In chat body we have actually three components, right? Chat list, chat item and user profile. These three components can be returned by using this component chat body. So actually components are nested components. So in this chat body components we are importing three more components. So if you use those, if you want to use those three components, you have to import this chat body, and then you have to self close this chat body. So finally it just return all the values which are presented in these three components of a chat body. Finally just display the chat box. This is the basic chat application which you are going to develop. So here, this is the chat application, but for this chat application, we don't have any server connection. Okay, here we will just send the message, but this cannot be saved in a server. Why? Because this is a just a dummy chat application only. See here, it was just displaying, but here there is no username, anything. Why? Because here I'm not registered, right? Here this is, it doesn't have any server. In our component I'm just directly giving the username. Why? Because here we have only 5 users only. So directly I'm generating these 3 users profiles in my component and directly sending the messages. But if that this chat application is using, if you want to use this chat application lively, for that you need a server, right? So if you want to develop the chat live application, for that I will show you one more example of the live chat application. Oh, wait 1 second. One second, the app is running. So if you need a server support for your chat application, for that you have to go for like Comment Chat Pro. We have a one web some supporting libraries we have in a Google. So you have to approach that like Comment Chat Pro login. So you have to register here. See here, if you want to server support for your chat application, you have to log in this Commit Chat Pro framework. In that, you have to register. So this is my app, a fourth app. So this is my app name actually. So you have to save all this app ID and you have to insert this app ID in your config file. So when you are developing a server supporting chat application, at that time you have to develop config.js. In that config.js, you have to insert this app ID and this authorization key. These two are compulsory for config.js. Okay, so this is the live application. This will work. Wait, I will show you. See here, this is the dashboard. So here my ID is a BT3. See here. So here we can send any type of messages. This is the server supporting application. So here you have so many features like you can insert images, you can insert anything. So if you are installing this in your in your laptop, then you have to you also you can also chat with another person. So before going to know about this, first of all, you have to register with the Comet Chat Pro login. So here you have to register and then give your user details here. You have to generate your user details here. So now I registered with the BT3 name. This is my UID. So here So if I log out, so I will log in with some another user. So this is the chart application. This is the live application. Yeah, chart application is completed. Next, Kalai ma'am will continue. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Further proceed with testing today. This session, we will see how to test your React application, and we will see why we need testing and what are the types of testing available in React. And this will support your declarative UI, which is produced by your, and the declarative UI is produced with the help of your JSX. And finally, our aim is to check both unit testing and as well as integration testing. So let me quickly share my PPT. All right. So we have to understand how to write the code exactly. That is, when to create a state component and when to create a stateless component, and how to create a prop and how to use it exactly, and how we are binding that our property to whatever front end is to be rendered. Let us suppose I have some input, I am taking some input, and I have made it one prop to bind it the same input which I am taking to your view also. For example, if you have a login, right, at the point of login, I'll be giving my name, my email ID, and some of my authentication credentials also. And then when I go to my profile page, I will be able to see my name and email ID correct. So this way, the actual data binding has to happen. And I hope you all know what unit testing is and what integration testing is and all. And we will have a quick review also. And what we are interested in a React application is totally a front testing. So in a front end testing, the testing includes unit testing, component testing, and also known as snapshot testing. So this all which we do is known as TDD, that is test driven development. So today what we are going to see is all these things, and apart from that we are going to see two examples. In order to support testing, we have libraries Jest.js and Enzyme. So let me proceed further. Previously we were using Jest and now we have, previously we were using Enzyme and now we have our Jest library also. Now let us see, software testing, as you all know, is part of our software development, and without testing a product cannot be certified as a quality product. So that's what kind of means. And there are few testing levels into, if you take a front end application, there are few testing levels, and of course there will be terminologies to how to test and how to go through all the process of fulfilling the quality of a web application. The most common things which we see are UI test, like whether your UI which is rendered correctly, and the UIs which is rendered also is binded to its particular CSS written and its particular JS written and other assets. Let us say if there is some image included or some JSON file included. Usually there won't be any JSON file in the real world application. But of course, the external connected API data is converted to JSON. That happens in between. So like this, you have many things to check upon. So all these things will fall. And for each and every tag which you write, you have to verify whether it is satisfying its class name, whether it is appearing, whether it is binding the props, and whether it is following naming convention, and suppose it has a label also, whether it is able to show the particular caption or not. So these are individual units which we are going to test. And apart from that, if you come to service test, how far the functionality of on click is happening, on hover is happening, on change events are happening. So all those will enter. And finally, the entire UI test will be the declarative UI, which is in front of a user, is able to produce the HTML part correctly along with the JS part it has to bind. So that is the final thing. Now, further when we go through, we'll be able to understand this architecture even more clearly. Now, there are reasons for writing unit test. Like in an unit test, the meaning is you are checking whether the individual written single instruction is able to return you the expected behavior. That is, the line which I have written should behave the same manner. So the test is, I will itself say that this is the expected output. Please check whether you are doing the same thing for me or not. So this is a simple unit test we are going to do. And unit tests are very helpful in the documentation because you're going to care about each and every single instruction. And then, of course, regression. It is for regression itself, purely for regression. So the tools already I told you we are going to use today is just an enzyme. And this is a simple example of unit testing. Maybe now you may feel that what kind of syntax is this? But within 5 to 10 minutes, you will be able to understand it very clearly and you will start writing your own unit test cases. Now, let us go to official pages of Just an Enzyme in order to understand what exactly they provide us. There are advantages and disadvantages of testing. And the main disadvantage of testing is you have to maintain it and there is a continuous integration. So just as one of the delightful scripts which you have ever seen, and enzyme is purely meant for testing React applications. It will simulate action that will confirm whether your declarative UI is correct or not. And let me open the official page. Yes. Okay. So this is the official page of Jest. You can see how they have provided their docs, config, and other things to help. And as I told you already, it's a very delightful environment and it will help you with other frameworks also. Like you can implement this syntax for React, Angular, Vue, Node, and all others. So that's the importance of Jest. And of course, it has its own advantages. We'll be seeing them soon. So this is about the official site. And these are the number of people which follow Jest. Each one. You can directly type justjs.io. You can find all the necessary things. And in the doc, you can find the helpful commands like how to install Jest. If anyone is in front of the laptop and has a newly created React app, you can just go directly install your Jest. And you observe in the syntax, what happens is, I've put this syntax in the chat. Whoever is interested can directly create a React app and start installing this. So if you see, this is a very interesting command. And the environment we are saving in the dev part only, not in the production part. So before production, you are testing your all the cases which you have written. Now, I'm going to my Visual Studio. Now here, if you observe in the terminal, what I have done is, I've already installed enzyme. You can see the command is already present. So enzyme. And the another important thing is a React testing library. From version 16, it is available by default. If you're working in previous version, please try to install this. So this is also important. This is the default testing library available in React. You can write unit test cases with this also, but you won't be able to achieve all the requirements like unit testing and thereafter component testing and thereafter snapshot testing. These are the three important testing in the front end part. All right. Now, soon let us understand two different environments. The first one is Jest and the second one is enzyme. So we have seen how to install enzyme and how to install Jest also. And this is the React testing library. Now, once you complete this setup, once you install it, after installation only, you'll be able to see this setup test.js file. So this is the initial file. Whenever you write any test cases, whenever you name any test cases, it will by default check here for the necessary packages which you are going to use. Now, let us check here. Sharing enzyme part. Just give me a moment. So it's enzyme.io. You can do directly. And you can navigate to doc/installations. All right. You can see enzyme now, and there are valuable commands available here, and the same manner as you have installed just npm I save dev and save dev dependency, we have to enzyme that is install our enzyme. So I hope all these three are available to everyone. You can just parallelly try along with me. So if you're working in React 16, you have to install its own DOM. So that's why these two commands are given. And rest of the parts is ready to go with. And apart from that, there are a few things which we have to observe, that there is ES6 and ES5 and as well as ECMS script. So these all have different configurations. So in order to normalize them, you can go with installation of Webpack. So, all right. Now let me take this setup file. You can see that three things are there in the setup file, just using them. Where would I go is, I already showed you that the setup file is already created here. So just paste over this here. Right. Once we do this, we do really understand how the configuration has been achieved. And here we observe that for enzyme, we have configure and as well as the adapter. Now, and you create your configure by sending this adapter. So once this has been completed, your test environment has been created. Apart from that, we can see that there is our app.js as usual. And apart from that, we have now app.test.js. So this says that we are able to generate a default test for our app. If you observe here, this is the default test for the app. Now, since I have completed my config, now let us test the default app test case. In order to do that, you can just write npm test -app. And why app is because we have written the test file for app component. So it will generate your test cases. Now these are the few commands which we have to remember. The first one, how to save your React jest and in the dev dependency, and how to save your enzyme in the dev dependency again, and then the default React testing library, and then if the version is 16 and all. All right. So there is some error. The test has failed. Let me check. All right. So this must be requesting the jest again. So let us provide that. So wherever you find a common error, you can just try to install the package again, or you can uninstall the package and install it again. And even if it is not happening, you can clean the entire npm and again update it. Just update it because already once installed, your package.json will be having all the necessary configurations. So whenever you give npm update, it will directly go check your package.json, and from there it will try to take all the necessary versions to be updated. So that way it will happen. So meanwhile, this part is happening. Let us again check with our PPT. All right. So let us enter into our slide. So this is one of the examples. And what is test-driven environment is how to pass your test cases, and not only testing, it is also refactoring your code, including the test before you write the next test and so on, is known as your refactoring. And while writing unit test cases, we should be clear that what is the first component being called and what is the next component being called. In the same manner, we have to write our test cases. So this is test first development and then refactoring. So these are two common terms always used while testing your React application. And this life cycle has to be followed. And this is very, very important. And if you succeed, you will enter into the refactoring. And once refactoring is completed, the alignment of design with necessary needs has to be checked for. So let us say, suppose you write a test and you check if the test succeeds or fails. And then if it fails, you write only the enough code where it has to happen. So this way the test actually happens. This is simple unit test. So even though the things are looking bigger, but the functionality is very less. And once it succeeds, it enters into the refactoring part. Sorry. So once it succeeds, it will enter into your refactoring part. And there, after some refactoring the same code, it will update the failing test and as well as the correct regressions. So both things will happen. So the quality of the code is finally satisfied. And then only you will given the known needs. So this is the actual meaning of PDP. And this is the common life cycle where you can see whenever you write a test case, if it's passed, it finally enters into succeed, and when it fails, it makes it pass, and thereafter it will send it to the refactor. Okay, all this sounds good, but what actually we have to do is we have to understand how to rewrite these guided tests. In order to do that, writing the code is a valid way to design, and you have to add test and refactor both. Now let us suppose I have a component which has a button, and to that button I have a configurable caption. That is, there is a button caption. And when I click on the event, it has to react up. Now, please follow these steps in the environment given. You have to first create your React app. You can name it in any way. And you can also mention that you're going to use TypeScript. If not, also it is okay. Thereafter, navigate to the folder and try to install your enzyme and as well as React dependencies. For React 16, you need to do this as we have seen in the official documentation. And once that part is completed, we are going to copy these three things into our setup test.ts. This is the part we are going to do, which we have already completed. And next, what we have to do is when you check your test suite, okay? So whatever you have written for your button, JSX, the test suite must contain at least one test. So previously we didn't write any test and we are just giving npm test. So that is the error. And now what happens is for this button, okay, you're describing the test suite with a callback and it will check the environment works or not with the callback itself. Finally, you can see the output as environment works. One test has been passed. Let us return to the code. You are describing yourself that what you have to test. All right. So this has been loaded. And here you see renders learn React link and the const is given link. This screen get text. And what I expect is the link element to be in the document. Let us check. It will take just 2 seconds and it will return me. Actually, the test case has to be succeeded. In this case, we can go directly check for all the test cases. Like I was writing for single test case, you can go directly and check for all the test cases available. That part you can do. All right. So let us write our own test case now. Now let me create some file with the required functionality has to be done. Here in your this one app.js, what you can do is you can first try to start the application. So that at least once that link will be called, and then we can write the test. Test cases are purely written with npm test only, and each time you check for npm test itself. So there is no change in that. Whenever you write a new test case, again you have to check with npm test. And for individual component, let us suppose there is a home component, then you will go with npm test home. So this way you try to go on. And meanwhile, this app starts. Let us refresh our concepts again. So it's about testing and test type tools. It's not any practical tools or convincing tools which will make the actual quality of the product and all. And if you see this, a common scenario like a user views notifications or something, manages subscription or something like that, and there is a notification distribution service, and this financial market, whichever is available in the market, will be triggering it, and they will attend you through SMS or voice calls or emails or mobiles or whatever manner it is possible. So this is some kind of a project which happens in the real world scenario. Now, if you observe, these are the stacks which you can compare: Angular with React, and Grunt with Webpack, and JS with ESLint, and CSS with CSS and JS, and IntelliJ and VS Code. Like, these are few things available in the market. Now, if you observe old front end and new front end in this manner, previously there was Angular JS. In Angular JS, we used to write Karma and Jasmine and Protector, and then Selenium tests were also done. These are the common procedure of doing test, and exclusive to Angular JS are Karma and Jasmine, and these two things. And coming to them, Grunt helps you to normalize all these things in the Angular JS part, whereas Webpack will help you to normalize all your types of JS available. So these are the things which you can compare with each other. Now, suppose if you come for React, it is just an enzyme. These are the two things most commonly used in all the types of test cases you are going to write, whether it can be unit or component or snapshot. And let me explain in detail what happens there. All right. Why do we write test? The first thing we understand that you have to test whether your application is working as you expect it to behave. So the first point is the same. Everything works as expected to write the better code, and you have to automate the manual testing. And apart from that, you have to provide your documentation, which can happen in this level because you are going from the base unit level. So you are all very clear that this can be very, very useful. And apart from that, you have to protect the code from any sort of breakages. Like, there is no pitfalls between one function call to the another function call. Now, front-end testing is not similar to testing other components. So that has an hard trick to go on. Now, let us go to our Visual Studio Code. So it is starting the development server for us. So it's very, very important. And without that, we can't achieve what we actually are seeking for. So if you observe, the important point is introduction to Jest. It's a lightful library, as already I told you, a very, very lightful library and very easy to implement also. Now, what you have to understand in unit testing is unit testing or the individual components of software are to be tested, and individual function, method, or even an individual tag, I can say. All these comes under unit testing. And for all these, you have to write the correctness code. Let us suppose I have written a submit button and I have named it. For that also, you have to check whether the submit button has the same name or the same class name and the caption is same. And once it takes the submit, what it is exactly doing with for all these functionalities are available in your Jest to check upon, and that part also we will do now. For instance, whether the statement or loop in a program is functionally properly fall under the scope of unit test. So that is one part. Now we totally understand when we speak about React, a modular view architecture, everything comes under component. So component testing is the first thing which you comes in the mind. And whatever we write is a component, and what we mean by a component is something which binds its own CSS and as well as its script files. So when you have a complete binded part, then it is known as your component. Component testing verifies the functionality of individual part of an application, and tests are performed on each component as the name itself states. And it's in purely functionality of every component individually is tested. They don't depend upon any other component or something like that. And then has different web pages with many components. So at that time, what you have to do is same manner. Every component will have its own subcomponents, and testing module without considering integration is not possible. So for all the subcomponents, you have to write one integration test. So here where the integration testing actually comes into the part. And testing is like in React requires more sophisticated tools. And that is satisfied with the help of just an enzyme. So now we understand the actual part. And the most difficult part, and of course, the most important part is a snapshot test. Everything what we see is an declarative UI in React. So of course, you should have something called snapshot. So which can make sure user interface of a web application doesn't change or is not behaving as unexpected. It is behaving as expected, and the renderer is able to view the same exact manner which he has designed for. So this is the last and final point, which is very, very important. It captures the code of a component at a moment, and the moment in one state with any possible state it might take. Like whenever I write a snapshot for some component or for some individual item of a component, what happens is at that time it captures the entire HTML. It captures the entire HTML and it reproduces to me. So yeah, at that point, I am able to utilize it. The advantages are there are no unexpected regressions, and the current task is being completed, and there is modular construction because component and its subcomponents. Each subcomponent has its own unit test and integration test, and all the subcomponent testings are following the integration test. And finally, you will be achieving. And let us enter into this part. Let me go to our Visual Studio Code. Yes. So this part is successfully running. Once it starts running, you can check the localhost. Whatever localhost is available. Whichever port is available, it will directly take that one. The index.js will create a root element and it will assign it for the document.getElementID. The ID is your root actually. And then it follows the exact rendering of the app. That's the case where we are writing the test cases. Alright, our Reactor has opened. Now what we can do over here is write our own test case. Once it successfully runs, it has its own build created. You can run the npm test now. Alright. So after you write your config, you can use different things from your enzyme or even your jest. If we observe here, we're able to write different things. By default, you have testing library components. Apart from that, what we need is from our enzyme. The first thing we need is shallow. And shallow helps us write a simpler unit test cases. Apart from that, you need mount to check your component lifecycle, and render to render whatever the test you have been returning for, either for app or anything else. The same manner it will execute. So I have utilized them from our official website itself. And once you have done with that, what you can do is you can write a simple function to add two numbers. The simplest way to write a unit test is can get start directly by adding two numbers and then create, and you have to add this section to your package also before proceeding. Let us check where package.json is available. Part. You can see your script part is already present, and for that you can add a test under this. You can add test string. So tell that utilizing just. Okay. Here already React scripts is present. So now we can comment it. Okay, since comments are not permitted, let me just remove them. Come to a terminal, clear the terminal, and take a new one. Just go with npm test. Alright, so it is unable to find any test. So the previous error is failed. The environment error is now cleared. It is able to recognize jest, and we haven't written any direct jest cases, so it is just failing. So in order to achieve that, what we can do is you can directly go to your app.js and you can include one function, create your own component, functional component. In order to do that, you can just utilize this part itself. Or here in your source, you can create one file. All right. So it is able to accept all the components, but it is not recognizing your enzyme. I hope the enzyme is properly installed. If not, we will be finding such errors. And you're taking render from testing library, but need not use this render. But now let me remove mount also. When necessary, we will add them. Further, we will write pure enzyme code. At that time, we will remove the render of testing library. Whenever I say testing library, I mean testing library which is available by default in your React. So here again, execute your npm test. All right, I have given a wrapper, but the wrapper is nowhere defined. Soon we will be defining the wrapper also. All right. Let me comment this test case for a while, because they are purely .jx renderers. And what we can do is we can create our own test. So for that, what I do, I'll utilize new file. Here I name it as sum.js, and that you can create your own functional component. and export it. So let me save this. The next part which we have to do is we have to write our own test file also. So if it is for sum.js I am doing, I should name it as sum.test.js, this manner. So this is the way I do that. And now the test case you have to write is, you have to first utilize it, the constant, and the similar manner how you import your other components that you are checking. And in the test.js file on itself, now the important thing which you have to do is you have to write your test, and this entire test is a function which is available in just.js. Inside that, what we are trying to do is we are trying to check whether it is adding 1 plus 2 and gives 3. There's a callback which will let you understand that the expected behavior. If I remove this, this is empty. So this is the normal way you check, but you didn't give the instruction what it has to do. So in order to do that, I will take my expect. Inside my expect, I will write what is the expected behavior from the above component. So for that, I say that whenever there is a sum, I'm passing an argument, what should be it equal to? So here I am directly giving 1 and 2. So that's why it's behaving. Now let me do one thing. I write this npm test for sum. This is the simplest way. I hope this will work without any error. All right. So it is done. So you can see that we have passed the test for sum. And what I did is when I want to test sum, I passed sum. And if you want to test app, you have to pass app. Okay. So, and thereafter, you can see whatever I highlight, please check over that. Test suits, 1 test has passed, and the total test I have written is also 1. And when it comes to test, you will see the current test only, that is the sum file only is given here, the data is given here. And as well as we can see there is some word called snapshot, that is 0. If I write a snapshot, it will give me 1 snapshot. So now we will see how to write snapshots also. So this is one of the important thing you have to achieve. And you can do this configuration by writing in command line prompt also, and even you can init this package whenever is required. So these are the important things which you have to do. And now let us write one snapshot also. Before proceeding into the snapshot, let me rewind once, so that from the beginning we were struggling with app test cases. Now let me explain actually what happens here is we have our app.js already, it is present. And once I install React testing library, this app.test.js file automatically generates along with this setup test.js. Here you add what all the configuration is required. Now, just is something which is already present in your React itself. So for the same reason, what happens is in my package, I have to just say my scripting environment to bind with jest. So instead of React library testing, I now gave jest. So that's why I am able to pass my test cases. So what we did is we create this, right, the sum component, and in that we gave it how to add, and we try to utilize it in the next part. So in order to test the sum.js, we have to create sum.test.js file. That is very, very important. Now, if you observe the functional behavior, it passes 2 arguments and it adds and gives. So that part we have to write here, so that it will give me the same thing here. If you observe, it is just a print value in the display. So this, and apart from that, in order to test exactly what is happening, I will write my own expect. I write my own expect, and expect is something which will tell what is the expected behavior. So in that, I will write that the sum has to be 3. Now, let us see one more example so that it will be more helpful to understand exactly how do we write the test cases. So in your expect, you can write the button for all the query selectors, or for the any simple container you're writing in the same manner or something like that. All right. The same part we are going to do with the jest also. So whatever test cases you test, you can test in your CMD. It has nothing to do with your front end. And whenever you write snapshot test also, it is also available in your CMD itself. So that's the advantage of writing snapshot testing and other unit testing, and as well as integration testing. Alright. So this way you can check the environment, whether this is the particular environment or not, and it will give you environment works. The whatever message you have to send upon is present here. So this is what we done in the previous thing also. And describe comes for your direct React library testing, and whereas test comes from your jest part. Now here, if you observe, I'm trying to import all the necessary things along with my button, and from enzyme we will always utilize shallow. All right. And here I'm trying to utilize the same describe, but the only difference is it has to render whatever is present. If some button is the component, right? So I'm trying to render that, but it is failing. The test case is failing. The actual mistake is we didn't export this component. And we have to tell what it has to return also. So once you include this test case will happen. So now let us try this one by importing shallow. Let me switch to this. Not to do that, it's better to create a new file. And you all know the name is avsum button. Just give me one moment. can take it as JX also, but the preferred thing is TSX. You can create the file. I'm sorry. Let's do it first. Pearson underscore. The same thing which we have seen in the 50, the same thing we have to do. You can create its test file also. Same name is underscore btn dot test. Found it? Dot this manner, and there you take your describe. Here you describe. It gives automatic conventions, and inside that you have your first string to pass. Whatever you want to pass, you can pass. And now start your actual callback as usual. Once you come to this part, you understand that you have to write in that you can check the actual callback is happening or not with the help of environment connected. Again, give the callback itself to test. You can just run npm test. Give some underscore detail for that component. It's general test for environment present or not. And if there are any flaws, we can continue tomorrow. No problem. The remaining snapshot test, we can take 15 minutes tomorrow and then just continue with the next topic, the tomorrow's topic. I hope it runs as fast as possible. All right, it is determining the environment test cases, giving your build test file is also running. You can observe in the last line, it runs the exact test file for the component I have given. All right, the test has passed, and the environment which I have passed, the same message you can find here, which itself says that the test has been passed. Now, if I have already two test cases and I give general npm test, it should produce me two successful test cases. So this is generally done. So out of how many test suites you are able to run? In total, two test cases. One has failed because they are from two different environments. So that's the reason. You can see the error message also. One is from just, another one is from enzyme. So at that point, not render the testing library renderer, but it will render the just renderer. So these are the few things which will become incompatible. So if you follow enzyme, please follow enzyme. And if you're following just, please follow just. So that's the reason. And here we have followed enzyme syntax, and in test, I'm sorry, in sum.test.js, we have followed just a test case. So these are two things we did. And tomorrow session, we will see quickly how to write a snapshot and how to write two different library tests, that is just an enzyme separately, and how to differentiate them. And when they run npm test, that is overall testing environment, they will produce different outputs also. That part also we can see without error. So I request you all to for now and grasp the current point, which is very, very important. And tomorrow quickly we can complete this part. So if anything else, we can continue tomorrow. I hope I can leave for the day. Anything to say, participants? All right. Good evening, all.